everyone, it's Jordan. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of the year. So this was very difficult for me just because all this year I've had more 4-star reads than 5-star reads, but there was a small amount of books that I gave 5 stars this year, and like I said in my almost favorites video, I didn't realize how many books I gave 4 stars versus 5 stars this year, and of course I'll link that up above so you guys can check it out. And I have 7 books that were a 5-star read for me and my favorites for this year, so let's get to my favorite books of the year. Well, I picked 7 just because I was trying not to pick like sequels that I read from, multiple sequels that I read from, like from manga and stuff. But anyways, the first favorite book of the year is Plum Crazy: A Tales of Tiger Striped Cat by Natsumi Hoshino. I'm sorry if I butchered the author's name, but this is a very cute manga that I read a couple of months ago, and it's about just about a cat who's living a simple life, and then a new cat comes along, and that's pretty much it, the synopsis. I just love this manga. I mean, look how cute this cat is, and I couldn't help but laugh when things go wrong or things that just don't go in their way. And I don't know why with anime or mangas they always make animals cute, and I just fell in love with the story. And I know that there's I don't know how many books there are in total, but I know they're very hard to find, so I do hope to continue on with this series. But yeah, this is definitely one of the ones that I obviously expect that I gave us 5 stars, but yeah, I just couldn't help myself but put this on my favorites list. And the next book that is my favorite of the year, which is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is part of the Knock Me Out series, I think. But this is about a woman who's running away from her fiance, and then she goes into this town that her twin sister lives in, but her sister is not a very trustworthy or good person to be around. But then she finds out that her sister ended up having a kid that she never met, and that's basically the synopsis of this book. She tries to get to know her niece, and she ends up falling in love with a bad boy in town. Or there's like a romance in here. That's from what I've read, and I love this book so much. I honestly didn't expect to love this. I mean, it's a bit chunky, but it was worth the read just because I honestly, one of my least favorite tropes in books is bad boy, good girl tropes. That they've always been my least favorites, but after reading this, I was like, okay, that trope is not as bad as I thought, but it's not one of my favorite tropes by any means, but I just like the characters, I really like the story, and I really like the 2 main characters in here, so yeah, I'm loving this book, and I know I want to continue on with this series as well, so yeah, I couldn't, and that's just one of the books I was afraid of reading, because not only because of how chunky it was, is because how hyped this book series is, because a lot of hype books are either books I end up liking or not liking, but thankfully this is one of the ones that I end up liking, so yeah, I'm honestly glad that I gave this a try, and it became one of my favorites of the year. And the next book that is my favorite of the year, which is The Stolen Chapters by James Briley. This is the second book in the Story Thief series. If you haven't read the first book follows a boy who's loves one of his favorite books, and then he ends up finding out that his classmates can jump from book to book, but then he ends up going to one of his favorite books and screwed up the story. So I love this series so much. I love the world, and I love the characters, and of course I couldn't help myself put this on my favorites list. I mean, the first book was on my favorites list back in 2020, I think. So yeah, I just love this series so much. I can't wait to continue on with it series. But yeah, I just couldn't help myself but that this is one of my favorite books of the year, and I'm so happy that I was able to catch up on some of the sequels on my TBR. And the next book that is my favorite of the year, which is The World Without Princess by Saman Shinani. This is the second book in the School for Good and Evil series. If you haven't read the first book's about 2 girls who are best friends. One's supposed to be good, one's supposed to be evil, and then they end up going to the school for good and evil. Like the one that is good that goes to evil, and vice versa. And that's pretty much about their adventures at that school. And I love this story so much. I love the two main characters. I love the world, and I just really want to continue on with the series because I know there's 6 books in the main series total, but there's also a prequel series that's about how the school for good and evil came to be, and I'm just want to get to that, but I want to read the main series first just to have a better understanding, even though I love the world so much. But yeah, this is another one that I couldn't help but put on my favorites list just because I really love this series so much. And the next book that is my favorite, one of my favorite books of the year, which is Death by Tea by Erik Erikson. This is a sequel to, this is the second book in the Bookstore Cafe series. Where my brain is today. But anyways, if you haven't read the first book's about a woman who's wanting to open a coffee shop, and she opened a coffee shop, but then one of her customers ended up murdered. That's basically the synopsis of the first book, and again, as another book series that I really enjoyed. I was surprised on reading this, the first book a few years ago, and I'm still loving the series so far, and things just keeps getting worse and worse for the main character from what I can tell. But I was surprised on how many people didn't like this series from Goodreads, because that was like a lowest rated book that I've read like 4 years ago, like the first book, and I'm just really enjoying this series. I like the I love the characters, and I really like the story so far, so I am continuing with this series as well, because I know that there's a lot of cozy mysteries that have been catching my eye lately. So yeah, I'm really glad that I've read this year, and it's still a 5-star read for me, like the first book. And the next book that is my favorite one of my favorite books of the year, which is Cinderella's Dead by Caitlin Barron. This is about what if the story of Cinderella was true, but in past couple of in 200 past 200 years, the women have to go to the royal ball to find a suitor, or else something happens to you. And we follow our main character, who doesn't want to follow any of that and wants to marry her best friend. And that's the synopsis of this book. And boy, I really enjoyed this book this year. I was surprised by it. This was another one that was very hyped this year that I was worried about not liking, but I was surprised on how much I love this book. I really love the world and the society, how everything was very challenging for our main character, and I really love our main character, Sophia, and all the challenges that she had to face. And I was listening to this on audiobook, but then I was so into the story that I was like, screw this, I'm gonna finish this book physically, and I'm glad that I did, and I end up loving this book so much. So yeah, I'm really happy that I found another author that I really enjoyed and want to read more from. So yeah, I'm really happy that I gave this a try and ended up really loving it. So the last book that is my favorite book of the year, and it's my #1 favorite for this year. I just couldn't stop thinking about it after reading this, and then a lot of my favorites list, I try not to pick authors that I've read before, but with this one I just couldn't help it and pick a book that I've read from an author previously, just because I enjoy the book so much, which is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. If you haven't read it, this is about a retelling of The Wild Swans, but this is about our main character who has 6 brothers that end up turning into cranes, and she's trying to break the curse, but her stepmother tries to stop her from breaking that curse. And I just love this book so much. I really love the characters, I really love the world, and I know this is a duology, so I definitely want to try to get to the last book of the duology as soon as possible. And I think there is a 3rd book that takes place in the same world as this one, so I know I need to get to that as soon as possible. But I just love this book so much. I love our main character, I really love the world, and I'm just really want to continue on, read the second book, probably try to read it as soon as possible, because I just love this book so much. And I think this is definitely my favorite from Elizabeth Lim. I know I really liked Spin a Dawn Ravel of Dusk, but this is definitely my favorite from this author that I've read so far. And I know I've read Reflections as well this year, which is written by Elizabeth Lim, but yeah, I just think this is my favorite book from her so far. So that is all for my favorite books of this year, and if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and comment down below what your favorite books of the year, or favorite books of the year are, because I would like to know. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon so you'll be notified when I post new videos. Also, you can follow me on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, which all links will be down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!